Good evening, everyone. For those of you that are sitting comfortably at home, welcome to Green Tech Southwest. I'm Hannah, one of your organisers. We are here this evening in Scott Logic offices in Bristol. I thought we'd start with the Bristol map behind us. So we are just getting everyone to find their seats here in the Bristol space. I'm going to sneak my laptop round and give you a little idea of where we are, what we've got going on. How's that? Yeah, so we've got some food and the drink in the corner. That's where everybody's standing, of course. That's where all the good stuff is. And lots of really fantastic conversations. You're all good, don't worry. Lots of fantastic conversations going on in and around the room. So I hope that those of you that are here joining us online tonight, are going to feel chatty in the chat feed. You know what I mean, right? So please do introduce yourself. We want you folks at home to feel as involved in tonight's event as everybody in the room. And really the best way that we can do that is through the chat. So I'll get us going in a second. I've got Sam next to me here. I'll just give you an idea of our little tech setup. This is me and Sam here. managing the online feed. So if there are any problems, if you can't hear us or if anything isn't right, let me know in the chat, and me and Sam are here monitoring everything. As I say, it's important to us that you have a really good experience. So forgive me if I go for a moment now. We're going to get everyone to sit in their seats. They have been asked, but of course they're too busy having a nice conversation and I haven't yet sat down. So I'm going to go and give a little motivating speech. So bear with us. We'll be getting started in just a few minutes' time. So Sam is going to put the main camera back on, so you can just get a little bit of a sense of the room, and give us a few minutes. All right, but in the meantime, get chatting in that chatty feed. You can shove it in. Slightly. It's a lot heavier than I anticipated. You guys see okay over there? Is it better if I stand over there? Is that, yeah? We can adjust this actually a little bit. A bit further back. Is that okay? Yeah. I'll try and stand back. Okay, perfect. Right, I think we'll get started then. Hello everyone, and thank you for coming. So for those of you who have joined us before, you might notice that there's a bit of a new space. So do excuse us while we maybe act a bit shell-shocked and acclimatise to the new space. But yeah, we promise we've got a really, really good evening in store for you. And for those who haven't joined us before, welcome. And yeah, thanks for coming along. So yeah, I'll just do a little intro and tell you a bit about ourselves, but I won't keep that too long because we'll get to the good stuff. So yeah, firstly, we'd love to say thanks to our sponsors, AdLib, Scott Logic, obviously, for hosting the space, the Discourse as well, and Crystal. You may have noticed some beer coasters lying around. So Crystal are
one of the world's largest host companies running on 100% renewable energy. They're B Corp certified. And yeah, they've got these coasters here. If you're stuck in your contract, you can scan the QR code and you can basically get in touch with them and help get out your contract. So as I said, thank you so much for being part of us today. These three people here are your hosts, and you'll see us floating around, maybe looking a bit flushed. But yeah, we'll be here, and we're looking forward to networking with you all at the end. Some other floaters as well. We've got a wonderful tech Sam here. Couldn't do it without you, quite literally. And then Tariq will be popping up as well. He's probably the guy that buzzed you in. So yeah, again, massive thank you to our volunteers. We could not do it without them. So just a really quick thing about us. Green Tech Southwest is aimed to showcase a variety of people using tech to solve different sustainability problems using ingenious methods. Very, very simple core values, essentially. Just, we know that we know that sustainability, climate change, all that thing are really emotive topics. Our main message is just be nice to everyone, respect their opinions. Yeah, just have good chats, basically. So our wonderful Hannah has worked wonders with our website, and this is where we document all of our talks. So pretty much every single talk since we've started about 4 years ago. 4 years ago in Feb. So yeah, we'll make sure this is all up on our website at the end as well. All of the resources that get shared, speakers, slides and everything like that will all be accessible, and you can watch this talk back again. Feel free to skip over my bit. And yeah, just check it out. All of our old talks are on there as well. So yeah, we're keen to do some 60-second intros. So 60-second intros is basically just where we want the community to have an opportunity to just shout something out that you're working on. If you want either a call for help, not like a literal call for help, but if you're working on something that you need some support on, feedback, volunteers, that sort of thing, feel free to come up and shout about it, or if you think something might be interesting. Yes, sure, our first volunteer. Do a little swap of the mics. Yeah, that's the online mainly.
All right. Well, firstly, thank you. Welcome to Scott Logic. So I'm Ollie Cronk. This is my base office location. And just so you know, Scott Logic are a software and data engineering consultancy, headquartered in Newcastle. We're a social enterprise, certified B Corp as of a few months ago. And the big exciting thing that we've announced this week is we've open sourced a tech carbon standard, or a proposed tech carbon standard. If you go to www.techcarbonstandard.org, my team and I have pulled together something that helps, I suppose, navigate the technology space and relate it to the greenhouse gas protocol scopes 1, 2, and 3. It's just a starting point. It's Creative Commons, so welcome other people to get involved and give us feedback and kind of collaborate, contribute to the GitHub repository. And yeah, we're going to do a whole bunch of things with it, but just wanted to kind of announce that because that went live this week. So yeah, and welcome again. I hope you enjoy the space, and I hope we can host again if it works well.
Thank you so much, Ollie. Thank you. So yeah, I just wanted to say as well, usually we do online and in person, but I think we're just going to stick to in-person intros this time, just to keep times pressing. But yeah, if anyone from online wanted to give a little shout out for themselves in the comments, we'll make sure that's up on the website as well. Anyone else? Perfect. Hi. Hi, Ed.
All right. Yeah. Behind the podium. Like this? Hey, hey everyone, it's really good to see loads of people come out. Yeah, there's a point this morning where the online event was quite appealing. So yeah, thanks for all turning up. So yeah, for anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Ed. I am the MD and founder at The Discourse, which is a design agency and certified B Corporation on a mission to enable change makers to have a positive impact on society and the planet. To achieve that, we partner with businesses, predominantly in green tech and consultancy, as well as charities and non-profits, helping them to clarify their message and communicate in a meaningful way through brands, the web, and content. And The Discourse, I should say, is a partner and sponsor of Green Tech Southwest. I grew up in Bristol, and I'm just super proud of all the work that's going on here in the area and in the kind of green tech community. And we are super fascinated about what we can do as an agency and what the wider creative industries can do to support you all and to yeah, amplify the impact that you're all trying to make. So yeah, I'll be around this evening. You can check us out online at thediscourse.design, and yeah, feel free to come say hello or get in touch after the event. All right.
Yeah, and I'll make sure all your contact information is on the website as usual, so people know how to get in touch. Yes, amazing. Hi, Rob. So it's a bit of an odd thing, but just speaking to that.
Thank you. Hello, evening everyone. My name is Rob. I'm from a company called One Energy. We are decarbonising heat at scale in city centres, so we're building heat networks throughout the UK. So we're building in Exeter, which is my project, Rotherham, Milton Keynes, and Bradford, and looking to expand that to 10 networks within the next 5 years. Super exciting business. I joined a year ago, but the reason I'm up here now is we have a net zero strategy, or we have a net zero plan, and we need support with that, to be perfectly frank. So I'd love it if anyone's involved in carbon accounting for engineering projects, PPAs, corporate PPAs for electricity, also biogas potentially, and there was another one as well. And kind of net zero strategies in big engineering projects. I'd love to have a conversation, so come and grab me, and hopefully we can have a good conversation.
Thanks, Rob. Great, and I'll make sure to grab your contact information as well, Rob. We'll put it on the website. Any other 60-second intros? Volunteers?
Hello, we've got time for a few more.
God, yeah, I saw there was a hesitant, but Hannah gave it. Okay, so it's a bit of a trip that way.
Hi guys. So I'm Krista from Ecology. We're just opposite the road from here. We're a scale-up, climate action scale-up, focusing on bringing all-in-one climate solution for businesses. We help businesses, first of all, calculate their carbon footprint, and we do that for free, actually, because we wanted a very low barrier entry for businesses to get started. And then from that point on, we help them reduce their emissions, fund climate action, and engage their employees as well. So yeah, just down the road, but I'm here tonight to just get to learn more about this and meet other businesses. So yeah, super excited. Thank you so much.
Right, doing a scan across the room, but I think, oh yeah, amazing. Hi, Sarah.
Hi everyone, nice to see you all. I'm Sarah. Hopefully I've met some of you, but not everyone. Recently changed jobs. I'm a climate change consultant, and I work with clients across public and private sector. The focus that I have particularly at the moment is our organization is called 3Adapt, and we have built a land management tool that hopefully will help loads of land managers and large landowners to understand biodiversity, carbon, social, economic impacts of the land that they own and what potential is in there. I'm fairly new to biodiversity and nature-based solutions, so I'd just be really keen to share any ideas that anyone has and just kind of like test this idea that landowners have just a lot of potential within the land that they own, and some of the activities around developments and around renewable energy are not really well quantified from a financial standpoint in terms of the social benefits, the economic benefits, and also nature-based solutions. So really, if any of those words mean anything to you, just say hi.
Okay. Anyone else for a 60-second intro, or people not making eye contact with me? No worries. No, we'll keep going then. I can't fix that. Perfect. So yeah, as I said, we've got main event to get onto. So just before we get to the main event, we're always keeping an eye out on other events of interest, either in Bristol or online, related to climate action. So yeah, a couple of groups that we really recommend following, if you're not aware already, is Climate Action Tech. We've had loads and loads of great resources coming from Climate Action Tech. Their next event on the 27th of February is actually about Branch Magazine, their eco-friendly magazine. We've also done an event with Branch Magazine on our website if you wanted to check that out, which I think, if my notifications are correct, Hannah's just dropped into our comments as well, so we'll make sure that's available. And then, yeah, just a couple of other events for your diaries, but we'll make sure this is all available to you online if you wanted to check it out, because I appreciate it's a lot of information to scribble down now. Our next event will be sort of towards the end, late April, early May, and then summer beyond. We are looking for speakers. So if you'd like to be a speaker for Green Tech Southwest and you think the subject matter would be tie in with us nicely, do let us know. We'll drop our contact details down as well. We'd love to hear from you, but always on the lookout for new speakers, basically. And as always, your feedback means a lot to us. We honestly couldn't do these events without you all, and we want to make sure they're as useful and as enjoyable for everyone as possible. So whether it's criticism or support, we'd love to hear from you. So yeah, I'll make sure that's all available at the end as well. Now for the main event, Mike, I'll bring you up here to introduce the speakers while I sort the tech out.
Everyone, yeah, we're really delighted to welcome back James first. James did a talk for us, I think it was 3 years ago online, right before City Leap got going. So obviously we're really proud of City Leap and everything that they're achieving. So James Sterling is our first speaker, if I can bring him up, Communications and Engagement Manager at City Leap.
Is that, in terms of you, is that all right for everyone? Yes.
Because of the noise of the fans, it's quite difficult to hear back. I don't know.
Okay, should we, we'll turn the aircon off.
I don't think we can.
Project open up so we can do this one to work out. Perfect. I think you should be able to just right there. Sam, can you see those okay? Great, over to you guys.
Fantastic.
Just before you get started, I'd just say, if you have any questions for James, we'll be doing questions at the end. So we'll have James's talk, then we'll have a brief break, grab a drink, and then we'll invite Laura and Rachel on. We'll do questions at the end. So yeah, if you can keep hold of your questions until the end, that'd be great. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Mike. Good to see you all. As Mike said, yeah, it's been a number of years. I think the last one I did was it was definitely online. I'm pretty sure it was during lockdown number 1, which feels like a lifetime ago. And much has changed since then. So I'm James Sterling. For those that don't know me, I am the Communications, Engagement and Social Value Manager for Bristol City Leap. I'm not going to spoil too much of what's to come, in that we've got an animation that's been put together by some people much more creative and much more clever than I. And I'm hoping it's going to work. It'll just give you a very quick 1.5-minute flavour of what Bristol City Leap is, and then we'll get into all the interesting detail after that. So, fingers crossed. There is no sound. Okay. Do you want, might need to turn the volume up. Yeah, sorry. It's
No worries. So,
great. So that's the end of my talk. No, I'm joking. That's Bristol City Leap in a nutshell. So as you heard in the video, this is a very, very new, very innovative, new partnership between a public sector organisation, Bristol City Council, and a private sector organisation, Amoresco. And we're supported also by an essential subcontractor called Vattenfall, who are a Swedish state-owned heat network delivery partner. The idea of City Leap is to bring the scale and the resources to the city to support the dramatic decarbonisation that we need to do in a way that no one organisation could do in isolation. So this is the £1 billion that's being brought in through investment into new types of technology. We are agnostic, so we look across the whole range of energy efficiency, large-scale renewables, small-scale renewables, district heating, so heat networks and decarbonised heat, electric vehicle charging, and some of the smart tech as well that comes to bind all of those things together. It also builds on a great deal of work that Bristol Council's done over the years. So I think I don't have the current figure, but at last check, Bristol City Council had invested over £100 million in renewable energy, energy efficiency, decarbonisation projects over the last decade. And that's incredible for a council. But it's simply not enough to get us where we need to be by 2030 and to meet those rather pressing targets for decarbonisation. A little bit about Bristol, which you'll all know because you're all very familiar with Bristol, but Bristol's reduced its carbon emissions by 42% since the baseline was set in 2005, which is great progress, but still a long way to go. The council itself as an organisation has reduced its emissions by 80% in that time, which is fantastic. And Bristol City Leap will work with the council, so we'll help them to get that last 25% done by 2025 and really kind of lead by example, which is totally important for a local authority and a convening influencer, as the council is. Obviously was the first. That's okay.
Speak a tiny bit louder if possible.
I'm a very soft-spoken person, but yeah, no, I'll try.
But yeah, the AC is going to turn off in about 10 minutes or so, but just
yeah, that's fine.
Sorry.
All right, no, I'll try.
No, sorry.
Just wave at me if you can't hear. Just distract me as much as possible. You can stand as well, and I wouldn't be intimidated by that if you want to move forward. Great, and obviously, decarbonisation targets are built into all manner of strategies across the city. So the council's corporate strategy, the One City strategy, and also the sort of the mayoral priorities as they are at the moment. And undoubtedly future priorities as well. So Bristol City Leap really supports those targets and those strategies to be a delivery partner, to contribute a substantial amount of carbon reduction. And we've set out a number of commitments, and our commitments really look not just at the 20 years of the partnership, but more specifically at the next 5 years, those things that are really tangible for us, and the impact that we can make in the shorter period of time. And those commitments, I'll read them out, but we've committed to, and these are contractual commitments, £424 million worth of investment over the next 5 years as a minimum, £61.5 million worth of social value delivered for the city within that time frame as well. We will support the council to make its own operations, as I said, carbon neutral by 2025. We'll decarbonise the council's social housing to a rating of EPC level C or above by 2030. We will expand the heat network as it is and make a substantial reduction in overall carbon reduction for the city. So working with not just the council, but with communities, with residents, with local businesses through a commercial and industrial strategy to be that sort of chosen partner for decarbonisation. Our strategy really over the next 5 years kind of focuses on the council's operational buildings because they've got that 2025 target. That has to be an immediate thing for us to tackle because that's next year. So we're doing a number of things across the council's estate. We're also obviously working across the social housing. So the 28,000 homes that the council operates, its social housing, huge programs of work to be done there, and many of them have already kicked off in the last year, which is really great to see. Also, kind of looking at kind of the delivery of the large-scale renewables. So we've identified, since we launched last year, a number of really optimistic, positive opportunity sites that we can, well, we've started to kind of run sort of through in terms of planning and whatnot, and many, many more to come as well. So quite a pipeline coming there. And the expansion of the heat network. You may have read just yesterday, we connected to a new building over there, which is fantastic. Many, many more connections coming thick and fast over the coming months as well. And you'll see, slightly apologetic about it, lots and lots of holes in the ground throughout the city centre, lots of pipes going into the ground. Really important, key infrastructure that's going into the city that's going to last for 50, 100 years and beyond. In terms of the investment that we set out in the initial business plan that we published last January, not going to go through everything here, but that kind of sets out kind of our kind of contractual commitment, which is 424. The opportunities that we identified at this time last year were kind of around the 630 million mark, which is obviously quite a leap, if I may say. What we're actually currently in the process of doing is, well, actually just fine-tuning a revised business plan. So we do that on an annual basis, and that's going through some final revisions, mainly sort of graphical revisions at the moment. And that will be published later this month, actually, on the 29th of February, which I've affectionately named Leap Day. Because it's a leap year. Yeah. So yeah, I was saying to Mike, it's unfortunate we're not holding this event on the 1st of March, because I can tell you a lot more exciting stuff. But it's fair to say that that graph goes, it's slightly more steep, which is positive. Just a kind of view of the Bristol heat network. A lot of people ask, what is the heat network? And it's obviously a network of underground pipes which connect buildings, can be large tower blocks, can be businesses, can be smaller sort of residences as well, and offices, with a low carbon source of heat. So we've got an existing heat network which operates around these yellow areas, well, they're not quite yellow on the screen, but the Bedminster, Redcliffe and kind of Old Market area there. And then you've got the areas of expansion, which are Ashton Gate, Spike Island, City Centre and Froome Gateway and Temple. Connected to a bit of Redcliffe and a bit of the Old Market network is what we call a water source heat pump. So that sits in Castle Park. I don't know if you've seen it, kind of a large silo. Quite, if you're in a left-handed giant, actually, you'll see it just over the river there. That's actually the largest water source heat pump in the country, which is fantastic. It's currently serving, I think it's around 2,000, which is fantastic. We need to do more of that. Bristol has a lot of water. We've also got a lot of opportunities for geothermal as well, and air source. But it's, as I said earlier, not all about decarbonisation. It's not all about investment, pounds and pence. We actually see this opportunity with Bristol City Leap as a great chance to do something that's really going to shake things up and do something meaningful for the betterment of society in Bristol. Gosh, that's really so quiet. Like I'm shouting now. So we've committed, alongside kind of the investment and the decarbonisation figures and whatnot, a load of work around kind of improving society, and we do that through a number of ways. So we've committed that everyone working on Bristol City Leap, and that's not just sort of my team and the other teams within Bristol City Leap as an organisation, but anyone that works with us in the further sort of wider supply chain will be paid at least the real living wage, and that's a prerequisite to work with us. That's really, really important to us. We've also kind of committed that anyone working with us will need to sign up to the Bristol Equalities Charter, which is really easy to do, and build an action plan around how they're taking, sort of action on addressing inequality in the city. So, you can imagine with all the delivery that we're doing, the very broad supply chain that we're working with, that's already a fantastic impact in terms of wages and in terms of a more equitable system. But that's not all of it, really. So we've committed a lot to energy and community energy organisations, and actually generally sort of VCSE organisations. So we've just launched a couple of months ago our £1.5 million community energy fund, which is giving out grants and loans to charities, CICs, social enterprises, faith groups, you name it, to deliver their own energy projects. And in a time of increasing energy prices, cost of living, that's really, really important for us to be able to help community organisations to deliver their own energy projects, perhaps put solar on a roof, cut their energy bills, make their building more energy efficient, or engage communities and help communities through education. We're working really closely with Bristol Energy Network colleagues here as well on that one as well, which is fantastic. And Bristol Energy Network helped us to collaborate and co-create that fund that works for communities. We've got an R&D fund coming in, hopefully this year, which is £500,000. So I know there'll be some interest in this room. I can answer some questions about that, hopefully later on, if you've got any. And then we've got a benefit fund coming as well, which is looking at non-energy projects. So if you want to, deliver a children's play area or a community garden or something like that within your community, again, that's funding that can be bid for. And last but not least, through all the work and delivery that we're doing, we've committed to creating over 1,000 jobs. And that's again a minimum, but of those 1,000 jobs, 410 will be within Bristol postcodes, so BS1 to BS16 postcodes. So that's kind of a variety of jobs, within kind of the green sector for local people. And within that, we've got a series of kind of commitments around needs. So, people that aren't in education or employment or training, people that are have left prison, for example. We've got, commitments around reducing the gender pay gap, creating a more diverse workforce. There's a whole lot in there. I'm not going to go into all of it, but it's something that we've spent a lot of time thinking about. Oh, no. Well, never mind. And then I think part of that as well really is about sort of grassroots. It's about building kind of, the next generation, building the next kind of cohort of people that are going to work on these projects. And so we've kicked off our school scheme last year, which is colleagues are, going out to schools around the city, talking to them about the opportunities that are coming through the sort of green economy and through kind of green jobs and careers. And also kind of engaging them in fun stuff. So a colleague of mine has been setting fire to things in assemblies and classrooms around Bristol. It's not caused a major incident yet, but it's something to kind of get kids on board. And ultimately, I think, our dream is if we go into a school tomorrow, engage, a whole sort of range of children, some of those children can actually and should probably find themselves working on Bristol City Leap projects in 15 to 20 years' time, which is an absolute dream. We've got a number of asks. I'm not going to go into supply chain, to be honest, because we've talked a little bit about it, but we have a number of asks for our supply chain and things that people need to do to engage with us, and that kind of supporting social value, taking on apprentices, creating work placements and reporting on the things that they're doing around social value so that we can monitor it and track it. And then supporting community energy, as I said, we've just launched our community energy fund, which is seeing some great interest so far. We're also kind of committed to creating a crowdfunding platform, and that crowdfunding platform is something that we will use to generate a bit of capital for some of our projects. So a percentage of some of our projects will be something that Bristolians or people further afield eventually can actually pay into and get a sort of reasonable kind of modest rate of return. That's really kind of key for us to give people that opportunity to kind of buy into things within their communities, to give them a bit more of a stake in the developments and the projects that are coming. But it's also something that we're spending a lot of time sort of building this platform, the Bristol City Leap crowdfunding platform, or whatever we deign to sort of brand it at the end of the day. And in doing that, we feel that this is something that should be available to my alarm clock, actually. That's all right. Something that we should be able to offer up to other community organisations. So we want to make that platform free at the point of use, so that any community organisation, charity or otherwise, can do their own fundraising through our platform, and we will offer that. And then generally an open door policy, which kind of goes without saying. We're very, very approachable. As a member of my community engagement coordinator here, which is fantastic. We're generally out and about in the city, and yeah, we kind of have a lot of great engagement with community organisations, but we always need more. And that really brings us to a close. So yeah, thank you for having me. As I said, it will be fantastic to update you in the future, post 29th of February. I'll be around for some chats after this, but yeah, if I don't get a chance to speak to you, I will wish you a happy Leap Day in advance. So, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, James. Really amazing project, and great to hear about all those initiatives as well. We're going to have a short break just while we get Laura and Rachel set up. So if you want to grab a drink, don't be shy. There's a fair bit left. I don't know about the pizza. There might be 1 or 2 slices. And then we'll get you back sat down in a couple of minutes, if that's all right. So feel free.
So we normally use them.
Not everyone knows how to.
Sorry about that. We'll,
No.
yeah, we've taken
It's all right.
it on board.
It's just a noisy room.
Yeah, and it is something you can listen to the audio
Yeah. Let's not butt heads.
Oh, the cable.
I haven't pressed anything, have I?
Right. Does that need to be on to test?
I think it's yeah, right. I think it's good.
Hello, 1, 2. Is that better? People hear me at the back? Katie, can you hear me at the back?
Good.
Excellent.
Hello, we can test.
Here we go.
Hello, hello. Testing, testing. Yeah, not interfering with online. Okay. Okay. Difficult to know when you're actually here, isn't it? I suppose. That's
Yeah, I know. Fine.
Should we turn it off? Or should we keep it on? Now we.
Cloud management, web hosting, managed services. Yeah, cool.
Oh, sorry. Do you need this as well?
No,
I'll stand close.
In your vicinity. Okay, everyone. Okay, we're gonna get started while the aircon's off. So yeah, you can take your seats. Cool. Okay, thank you. Just a quick reminder: if you have questions, we're going to do them straight away after this talk. I'm going to wheel out some chairs and I'll run around with a microphone. Not this one. So yeah, next up we've got Laura Penny and Rachel Moffat from Bristol Energy Network.
Can't see this.
Well, you're going to hear from them shortly.
That is a joke, Mike.
You warned us this would happen, so we're prepared. It's good.
Thought you were going to tap dance.
In these.
Sam, can you put LP on the stage?
LP on the stage. That's your call. He's MC. And now the aircon's off, it's like can't hide.
It's not able to.
We'll have a dirty joke if you've got one.
Three man.
Sam, could you see them before?
Before it moved across, I feel like it was.
Can you kick me off and put me back on?
Leaving the stage.
Remove completely, yeah.
It makes a nice change from us trying to do hybrid things.
Yeah.
Not managing.
I mean, Mrs. Lush will see me tonight.
Yeah. It's way too much.
Looked very complicated earlier.
Just re-invited to re-invite.
Yeah, I've accepted it. Can you see me?
Oh, it's wine.
It's not like,
Can I use my laptop?
You can
yeah, that might have to be.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, right, you've got your slides. So.
Yeah. Pull this round. They're the same. Do you want to tape the presentation down? Would that be helpful?
Yeah. Maybe it's because there's a couple of them up, maybe, but that hasn't been the issue before.
Okay.
Do you want to maybe close one of them down, actually, and then?
Yeah. So this is the actual presentation.
That's the actual presentation.
Some sort of caffeine. Well done, well done, well done. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for waiting. I was going to say in my presentation that we are a people organization rather than a tech organization. So we've obviously brought our bad luck to your smooth running process for the past 4 years. But thank you so much for inviting us. We're really happy to come and present to you. My name is Laura Penny. I'm the chair of the board for Bristol Energy Network. We are a community interest company. And this is my colleague Rachel. I'll let her introduce herself.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Rachel Moffat. I'm the coordinator for Bristol Energy Network. And
go ahead.
I'm like, if I touch it, it's all just going to shut down. But no, here we are. Okay, so who's Bristol Energy Network? Well, we are a community-led. Looking into that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Our vision: we want to put communities at the heart of Bristol's energy system. So we are looking towards a new, clean, green, affordable energy landscape for Bristol and the surrounding areas, because currently our current energy system is not working for everyone. It's not working for our planet, and it's not working for a lot of people as well involved in it. So we see community energy as a driving change for our system, a driving change for net zero, but most importantly, an opportunity to benefit communities in the process.
Thank you. Ben is, we call ourselves Ben affectionately. So if we were male presenting, a lot of the times our colleagues get called Ben accidentally. So Bristol Energy Network, Ben, we are a membership organisation, so we wouldn't be anything without our members. And we're really proud to say that we have almost 50 membership organisations in Bristol, and that includes individual members and countless community partners and stakeholders who have engaged with us and our work out in the community. So if you, your organisations, or you may even have like a neighbourhood group that you're part of, are interested in becoming a member, it's free, then please speak to us and we can sign you up, and we'd love to get you involved. We run semi-regular events every 3 months where it's an open invitation for people to come and talk about community energy. So you don't have to be a member to come and join us. In addition to being a membership organisation, we also develop and deliver projects. And we do that with our members to help them if they don't have the capacity to do that. But we also do that with other stakeholders in the city and independently as well. So we develop projects independently and then hand it over to communities. So we do that initial development work for them. Some of the projects that we work in, you wouldn't expect it, but we do a lot of different things. We are quite a small organisation. So we support communities and activities from learning about their energy use and their bills. They might not even understand what their bills mean. We do active work in alleviating fuel poverty in a lot of communities around Bristol. We also work with people on DIY and technology-led home retrofit projects as well. So that's quite a lot of what we get funded to do at the moment. And we are also involved in energy innovation projects and the development of community-owned renewable generation. So that's one of the largest things that a lot of people think we get involved in, but it's actually a relatively small amount of the work that we do in the city. It's definitely our biggest funded piece of work that we do, though. So this diagram here on the left, which is going to be a bit difficult for you to see, unfortunately, but this is the Bristol Community Strategy for Energy. Now, we developed this with communities in 2013, so over 10 years ago now. And the development of the strategy was led by Bristol Energy Network with support from the council, from CSE and the Centre for Sustainable Energy, if you hadn't heard of them. So they're a national charity that help people with energy and fuel poverty related activities, and also the University of Bristol. The strategy marked a statement of intent, and it was developed collaboratively over a number of meetings with multiple authors. So it's a really in-depth output, and we're still really proud of that document now. It set out a common framework within which different approaches to community energy could be taken, and the strategy has since formed a strong platform for which we can develop projects related to community energy. Despite being over a decade old, the strategy still effectively demonstrates the importance of community resilience, behaviour change, energy efficiency and low carbon tech, but also renewable generation and local economic development, as you would imagine. So the year after we developed the community energy strategy, we set up as a community interest company. So Ben is over 10 years old, but we've only really had about 2 people working for the company over that time. In December, we recruited 3 people who are working full time, which was like an amazing milestone for us. So we've kind of like almost tripled our capacity in the space of a couple of months. So we're hoping to do a lot more in the future. So over this past decade, Ben has developed an approach to accompanying communities in their journey from energy not really being on their agenda at all. It's not important to them. They have lots of other things going on in their lives, and it's the last thing they want to think about, to actually developing their own energy projects. So this journey takes time and investment and long-term relationships, and often that is with a trusted organization. So our experience has shown that with the necessary investment, the pipeline of potential community-owned energy projects is significantly greater than it appears on the surface. Over time, you can work with communities, you can start to talk to them about what their priorities are, what they want to achieve in their local area, and talk to them about how community-owned energy can enable them to achieve that in the long term. So this image on screen, also quite small, I apologise, shows the process that we normally go through in different stages. So we contact and build relationships, we do capacity building, link priorities and ambitions, and then we work into project development, ensure that the project is investable, and then we can complete the project and at that point hand it over to community so they can own it and they can fully benefit from that in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, so to go a little further into that process, the most important thing for us is to embed at the very beginning. So assessing what a community's priorities are. What do they want? What do they need? Excuse me. There's a picture here of Lawrence Weston Neighbourhood Development Plan. Very small one again. Sorry about all the small images. But it's just a really great example because our colleague David Tudgy was working with Lawrence Weston on their development plan. And they were the first neighbourhood to build energy actually into their community planning. Now they have England's largest onshore wind turbine, which is currently started turning last June and is generating and wholly owned by the community of Lawrence Weston. It's a really great, good news story. But it only happens if you're working at the beginning in the planning stages with communities and assessing what it is they really want and they need. Excuse me. So yeah, it's all about embedding with what is already happening. Is it neighbourhood development plans, community development plans, community climate action plans? There's some fantastic work around community climate action going on through the city, headed up by Bristol Green. Oh no, not Bristol Green Capital Partnership. Where the Bristol Climate and Nature Partnership. That's it. They've just
Thanks, Sarah.
They've just transformed to Bristol Climate and Nature Partnership. Doing some fantastic work with local communities, developing community co-designed climate action plans, finding out, what do people really want, what's important to them, and where is it that we can serve them and develop and help with that. We've spent a lot of time talking to people who don't have an obvious interest in energy, and coming to the conclusion that actually energy underpins a lot of what people want to do in their domestic lives and, of course, with their communities. So it's tying it into what it is that they want and they need. Excuse me. We also feed into national planning policies and local plans. All of that is really important. There's a picture here of the independent review of net zero that Chris Skidmore, a local MP, put together. And that has a lot of support in that report for community energy. I will refrain from saying whether or not his own party adopted much of that, but it is there, and there's a lot of there's actually a really good report if you're interested in energy in general and specifically in community energy. So we do our best to feed into national policy around that. We also developed something called 10 Asks for a Smart Local Energy Revolution. So this was back when there was the regional mayoral election, which was coinciding with local elections, if I remember correctly. So we made sure we developed some asks, 10 asks for local candidates, made sure we were asking and pushing forward this. So that's another useful document to look at, especially for tech related things, because it is about finding ways for energy to work for the benefit of people in a smart and local way. We're really keen to make sure that the benefit stays local. So just very quickly, a couple of projects that we have on the go at the moment. We have got 2 of our energy help desk facilitators up here in the corner in Sparks that you might have seen in the centre of town, the old Marks and Spencers, which is now an energy and sustainability hub, which the energy department there was developed with Bristol City Leap and other partners such as the Centre for Sustainable Energy and our members Bristol Energy Cooperative. And Helen and Teresa are working on our Energy Help Desk project, where we talk to individuals and offer support for those in or at risk of fuel poverty. So that project, we've had contact with over 1,800 individuals, and I've trained over 160 people who work in the city supporting those in or at risk of fuel poverty. We've also been running draft proofing workshops. This is the Keeping Warm This Winter, where we were, that's the map of all the different places where workshops took place across the city, literally giving people the tools to go and do some basic draft proofing. It sounds like a very basic approach, but actually a lot of people don't recognize that their bills are high due to their homes being drafty. So being able to give people a chance to have a go. We can't, at the moment, as much as we'd like to, we can't change or have an influence on the global energy costs, but we can help people reduce their usage. And that's where we found it's really important for people to just regain a tiny bit of autonomy when things feel totally out of control and out of their hands. It's really nice to actually physically be able to go and do something about it. And in the corner, so this is one of the community climate action plans. This is with East Side Community Trust. We've been working with them on our warm up skill up program, working with, well, first of all, working with large community buildings in the area and assessing, doing energy audits, finding ways for them to be improving their buildings, energy efficiency and reducing their usage. And then on a domestic level, working with warm home champions who are learning, they're having thermal traces of their homes to understand where it is that they're losing energy, and then doing an in-depth 6-week, essentially enhanced DIY draft proofing course to get them ready for what we call shallow retrofit. So they're doing as much as you can possibly do yourself, and it sort of prepares you to be able to go into deep retrofit, having things you need contractors in to do, but also importantly, preparing them to be able to be ready for any funding that might come available, because it comes and it goes, and you have to know what to do with it, how to employ it, how to talk to contractors, all of that. So that is the purpose of that course. And our SIFT project, which Laura has mentioned here, this is the turbine down in the Ambition Lawrence Weston worked on. And this was our conference. We had a visit down there. We've been awarded a grant by the West of England Combined Authority to develop more turbines, community-owned turbines across the southwest. 10 in the long term, 3 in the short term, 10 in the long term. So we are assessing sites and working with communities to make sure that that happens and that the ownership stays within the community. Bristol City Leap. So we're working with Bristol City Leap on their community energy fund that James mentioned before. So we all knew Bristol City Leap was coming for a long time. It was a long process, James, just a few years until that came to it. Yeah. So we knew it was coming, and obviously ourselves and other community partners were really keen to make sure that the community benefited in some way from this large investment project, this joint venture that's going on in the city. So we've co-developed the fund with our partners and with Bristol City Leap, and we're acting as a connection with the community. We're supporting people. They can come to us for a one-to-one before they apply to this fund, so we can offer some support, some advice, some help, a bit of tailoring perhaps, to encourage them so that they can have a successful application. And we're deliberately talking to people who might not have done energy projects before or thought about it, and try and encourage them to apply.
Thank you so much. So obviously there are ways that technology can support community energy, and these are things like local infrastructure, energy generation technologies like heat pumps, for instance, and innovative engagement tools like in-home devices, which if you're lucky enough to have a smart meter, you may have an in-home device that you probably don't engage with and you put in a cupboard. So there are lots of ways that we can be improving what the energy system is doing now. And actually it's one of the last, what we call dumb industries, and is really behind in becoming smart. So we're really, really trying to embrace that. And we know that data is actually one of, if not the most integral piece of the puzzle to ensuring that we achieve a just and fair transition where all consumers are given the opportunity to benefit and they aren't directly or indirectly left behind. So we know that there are a range of opportunities for us, but we're also very aware that there are a lot of barriers for communities, not just in the city, but wider in the UK. So we know that, for instance, we can use data to get people interested, easily share information. We can help people keep track of their goals. It can be, low things like I just want to make sure I'm recycling more on a weekly basis, to things like I want to track my carbon footprint and make sure I'm not doing any international travel. And then things like matching people up to local skills and trades, which is what we want to develop in our network, so that people can come to us if they know they need something as a community or an individual. We can help match them up with somebody in their local community or not very far away that can do that for them. Some of the barriers that exist, so we know that accessing new technology or data-related activities aren't that easy for a lot of people, not just because of economic reasons, but also depending on where you live, what type of property you live in, whether you're a renter or you own your property, but you might not have any disposable income. And then also a really big one at the moment is legislation. So for instance, there's a lot of campaigning going on in the community energy sector for the local electricity bill, which hasn't passed yet, but it has resulted in the government committing to £10 million funding for groups across England to help develop more community energy groups, which is fantastic. The electricity market rules that exist still hamper progress, because if you wanted to create a local generation project, you couldn't sell that to local people without paying to become an energy supplier, which is ridiculous. You would have to pay loads of levies to do that. It costs lots and lots of money. And there are other license requirements that would enable you to sell that local electricity. So what schemes are having to do now is sell that electricity to a national supplier. So they take a cut, and then it just gets redistributed across the national grid. So there's lots of changes that need to happen that have been campaigned for over a number of years and are being really heavily lobbied for in central government. So anything that you can do to help us with that would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, just a slight note on that one. That wonderful turbine that you saw is a 4.2 megawatt turbine. It's enough to produce energy for about 3,500 homes per year, which happens to be the population of Lawrence Weston. It just is so frustrating that that energy can't just go to Lawrence Weston and has to go to our national grid and then come back round. And so this is where something like the local energy bill would be a really exciting move. Excuse me. So lastly, something very, very dear to our hearts is around just transition, making sure that all of these changes that are happening and that will have to happen, not just that are happening, but that have to happen, don't leave people behind, don't exclude people, and don't exacerbate any inequalities that already exist. So for Bristol Energy Network, our sort of part of our journey on the sort of just transition narrative started back at COP26, where there was a genuine recognition that national governments were not delivering on their targets and their promises, and that communities need to and can deliver, and needs recognition as a lever in being part of the just transition to net zero. Challenging the structures of ownership is really a way where we can make it a just transition. Last year, myself and 3 other community activists in the city, Emma Gein, a disability and climate activist, Olivia Sweeney, former Black and Green ambassador, and Kirsty Hammond, who works for Heart of BS13. We were invited to take part in an exchange with the US Embassy on climate justice and adaptation, which was interesting. If anyone's interested, I can chat to you afterwards about that. But what we did do is come back and realise that from our group that was invited from the UK, a group of 9, 4 of us were from Bristol. And actually, it was nice to come back and go, do you know what? Bristol's actually doing pretty well. We are doing some exciting, great things here. First, to declare a climate emergency and then an ecological emergency. But when we had a sit down with the mayor and a chat, we said the next, what we really need to work on is just transition. So, excuse me, he tasked us to go away and chat to our communities and develop a declaration for a just transition. So we did. It was, excuse me, quite something. And this was adopted by full council late last year. So now Bristol supports these principles for just transition. It's not an action plan. We find, action plans don't work. You can't write action plans for different people doing very different things. It's simply a list of principles that we are asking people, organizations, to sign up to leave your work, to help plan and focus your work around. I was very pleased to say that a new project that we're involved with Bristol City Council called Mission Net Zero, that they just got funded for, they use this in their grant application. They use this to base their plans off, which is really very heartening to see it being taken seriously. So there's a lot up there. So please do take a look. If you work for organizations, please do have a look at signing up to it. We've got 25 stakeholders so far in the city, and the council and cabinet as well have signed up. We're working hard to get more and more people signed up to that as a way to focus their energies going forward and make sure that we use this transition as a real opportunity to make things better for people as well as planet.
Thank you. As a relatively small organisation, very small, let's be honest, very small organisation that relies on grant funding and amazing volunteers, we always have asks when we speak at an event. So we would love you to sign up to the Just Transition Declaration, have a look at it. There's a longer, more academic version and then an easy read version. And please take that to your organisations and ask them to sign up to it as well. But then also think and share with us about how technology and data can help with achieving a just energy transition. As I said at the beginning, we are a people organisation first and a technology organisation second. So we always rely on the expertise of people in the city and how they can support us in what we're trying to achieve. And then finally, connect with us, connect with Ben and become members if you're interested in doing that. So thank you for having us today.
Nope. Oh yeah. Where is it?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to Rachel and Laura. You all right, James?
Not the way.
A bit of entertainment coming up. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much for that talk. That was absolutely inspiring. And yeah, proudly Bristolian on my laptop, so along with all the other rubbish. But, so yeah, we're going to take questions. I am going to just quickly do the 2 questions we've had from our online audience. They are both for James. So
no,
apologies.
No offense taken. Please
don't take any offence.
Take the heat.
So I will try and read out Hannah's beautiful handwriting here. So from Lawrence Cable online, we have, with transport being one of the main sources of greenhouse gas emissions, one of the most cost-effective ways to tackle this is to build inclusive, active travel infrastructure. Is Bristol City Leap doing anything to invest in this?
I mean, the short answer to public transport is no. Transport is not in the scope of Bristol City Leap. I'll repeat that. Public transport is not in our scope. So we are looking at transport infrastructure in the form of EVs. So we're rolling out hundreds more EV charging points across the southwest. So building on the existing Revive network, the like of which you'll see all around this area actually, and other parts of the city and parks and communities. That's kind of our transport focus. We quite hard actually. I should lead looking at this person, shouldn't I? But we're not involved in kind of buses or mass transport or anything like that.
Great stuff. Thank you for the question. Next question from Ben Watts online for James. What kind of COP values do we get from the water heat source pump? What's the peak heat demand?
Oh dear. Just to restate, I'm the head of comms and engagement. Social value. I don't think anyone from our heat networks team is here. Or certainly not. Thank you. 3 apparently. According to an expert from Exeter Heat Networks team. So thank you, Rob. That's saved us some time. Some Googling.
You can share that between the 3 of you. Yeah. Cool. Can we take some questions from the room? Just here. You have to shout loudly.
Yeah. I'm David Arscott from Pyterra. We're just about to start an Innovate UK project looking at how we can empower tenants in the private rented sector to initiate energy efficiency measures. So a question for Rachel, Laura, are you doing anything to engage that sector?
Well, firstly, thank you for doing that project, because that is a difficult project. And one of the most common things, and we all know the situation with housing in Bristol is very difficult. The rented housing is appalling. And despite there being minimum energy efficiency standards, they're not enforced in any way. So, we hear a lot about that. Certainly in the work I do, engaging with communities, I hear a lot of work about that. So our warm up skill up course is we do work with people in private rented as well, in the private sector, because there's a lot you can do on the sort of DIY side of things before you have to fully engage, landlords and the like. And we are working we'd like to work towards a bit of modeling of good landlords as well, because I think there at some point there's also going to have to be a culture shift around it. We can't wait for legislation forever. So it's also around, so modeling some good landlords, which would be helpful. As part of our warm-up skill-up process, we also are working on templates to send to letters to send to landlords about, how to communicate around the asking for what it is that that you deserve as a tenant. But I'd love to hear more about your project.
Oh yeah. I was just wondering, you mentioned EV charging. Are you looking at putting charging into lampposts across the city? For people that live in houses that obviously don't have off-street parking, that's a big issue, and not being able to charge your car and having to get down to local Revive is a bit of a hassle. It'd be really handy to have that rolled out across Bristol. They've got it in London, so I just wondered if that was something you're looking at.
They've got loads of it in London. Yeah, and as a person who lives in a house with no off-street parking, yes, we are looking at that, and a range of other alternatives as well. There's some really quite innovative models that are coming out now. Bollards that come out of the ground, and I mean, we've traditionally had issues in Bristol because of the nature of where the lamppost tends to be located on the pavement. So they're usually at the back of the pavement, further away from the road, so you'd still have a trailing cable. But yeah, we've got some interesting new solutions that are coming through. So yes, definitely looking at that. And obviously rapid charging hubs as well in parks and green spaces. And
how soon might we see that rolled out? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Asking as a disgruntled EV owner. Next 4 months ish. Yeah. It's within the 5-year business plan anyway. So.
Thank you. Sounds like a scoop, doesn't it?
No.
As you're saying that there's a lot of renewable energy that you want to create in Bristol, so you want more solar panels and more wind turbines. Is there any plan for storage? So if it's too windy, those wind turbines can't turn. Is storage part of your plan?
It is indeed, yes. So we've got quite a large site that we've identified for quite a large sort of, well, what we call it, a kind of battery farm type thing. So yeah, and generally, obviously, looking at sort of domestic settings as well, and commercial settings where there's when there's on-site renewables. So yeah, batteries and storage is definitely part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, from a community perspective,
Yeah,
slightly different.
yeah. If I could just add a little postscript there, just another sort of inspiring story that one of our members, Residents Against Dirty Energy, were part of the initial campaign to stop a diesel generation plant in, well, I suppose it's Easton, really, St Philip's Easton. I don't know. It's on the border, which is now battery storage. So it's a large battery storage. Supported by Thrive Renewables and Aura Power, I think was it? We're part of developing that as well. So, yeah, a good win for community, and really probably only got to that stage because the community got together and went, no, you're not putting a diesel generation next to our schools and our nurseries and whatever else. So.
The water lilies project as well.
Yeah. Well, our members, Bristol Energy Cooperative, have been working. I can't remember the housing partner, so apologies to that. But developing a new housing development out Lawrence Weston Way again, and that's with its own microgrid and storage. So all the homes have solar PV, heat pumps, and storage on site.
So first question for James on the on-street charging point. Are you putting any pressure on Bristol Council to allow trenching and cross-pavement trailing for on-street charging?
I mean, pressure's not. Yeah, we're a partnership, so.
I know, but Bristol Council, one of the few councils which, at this point, are just absolutely refusing it, whereas a lot of the London boroughs are allowing it, or allowing it at your cost.
Yeah. So I think the thing to say is we're working collaboratively as partners to find the solutions. Yeah. So obviously, part of the beauty of Bristol City Leap is not just the investment that comes from outside the private sector and and any grant funding we can get from government, but also having the council in there as a partner, as a convening influence, manages the highways and manages the land, biggest landlord in the city. So that's the real benefit, really. You get the best of the public and the best of the private sector. So yes, we are working collaboratively to find those solutions.
And then, sorry, another question for Ben and Beck, I suppose, but is there any more life in the Nathan Lock Hydro project?
Do you know anything about it? Okay. I really hope so. I really hope so. I don't know how much I can talk about it, but basically land ownership is the fundamental problem in a lot of things to do with community energy.
Originally it fell through because of Brexit, but so you're
it's our partners' project, so not ours. But I know that it's certainly not been completely scrapped. But there would have to be a bit of a rework. But yeah, I think they're still looking at it, certainly.
I think at last I heard it was on hiatus.
Yes.
It's not cancelled. It's
No.
just other projects that come forward that Bristol Energy Co-op have put the focus into.
Yeah, and it's obviously a really interesting project because it was one of the first projects that I did some feasibility on when I started my career like 15 years ago. So the council dropped it, and then it got taken up later. So I think I think the reason that it was dropped originally is because the value of the project wasn't high enough. But this is where we see communities coming in, because even if a project is deemed uneconomically viable by a large generator, the community can own that, and the generation that's coming from that will benefit that local community. It's ultimately free electricity, renewable generation for them in the long run. So we will be supporting them in that as well.
And
You want to see it work.
Yeah, certainly that. And we obviously have a community energy fund out there now, which is there to do.
Yeah, there is funding available.
Enabling work, so
Fingers crossed.
We'll get them to apply.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you know, it'd be encouraging.
Okay, I'm over here now. I've got a question from Mike Hayward online. It says, this is for Ben. The Lawrence Western turbine is an amazing accomplishment. Are you lobbying for a local micro electricity grid in Bristol or visioning that?
Yes, short answer. So there are a lot of complexities around that. I mentioned briefly in our talk earlier that we have been involved in a number of innovation projects where we're exploring local energy systems. So they used to be called smart local energy systems, but everybody hated the acronym SLES because it's really rubbish. So they've changed the terminology slightly. Well, Innovate UK have been trying to change it. So we're continuing to work on innovation projects, and we're really thankful that Bristol Energy Network and the work that it does with communities is been recognised through a partnership agreement with the local authority. So we have kind of first rights to access to any projects that involve communities, and obviously we involve our members in that. We don't just take monopoly. So it's something that's really, we see it as an essential way forward for the just transition, so that we can be pooling generation resources, and everybody can be benefiting in different ways in the future of, you know, the smart local energy system, but not SLES. Don't call it SLES.
Just to add quickly to that as well, that we work with universities and researchers as well who are working really hard at looking at some of the sort of technical restrictions to those kind of problems, you know, large generation, trying to like phase it so that it could be used more locally before having to then go and use a large connection to the grid, which are very difficult to get. And communities don't have any preference there. So connecting Ambition Lawrence Western, you know, they were in line with the same as if there'd been a massive onshore wind farm. It was the same weight as if you're putting one community-owned turbine in there. So yet another legislation thing to be looked at.
Hello, yeah, question for Bristol Energy Network. You said there's more turbines on the way. Potentially, are we going to see Windmill Hill change its name to Wind Turbine Hill?
Well, we can't reveal any sites yet, unfortunately. Lots of planning applications going in soon, which is exciting. But yeah, so we have funding to develop 3 wind turbines in the regions surrounding Bristol. So what a lot of people know is the West of England region. So yeah, we're developing that at the moment, going through the planning process, pre-application, and all of the environmental surveys that are required. So that's quite a long process. So over the next couple of years, we're hoping to get those 2 approved, and then we can continue in the way that we have in Lawrence Western. But the long-term plan is that we have a larger pot of sites that we are exploring, and over the next however many years, decade maybe, let's see, hopefully quicker, we can develop up to 10 wind turbines with a recycling fund that we're hoping to develop through this initial project. So a lot of things that slow down wind turbines are very much government influenced. So please lobby as much as possible, engage in your local elections, try and get everything moving, because wind turbines really are the biggest bang for your buck if you are putting effort into developing community renewables. It feels like it's a hard slog, but the outcome from it is huge and really beneficial. You could be going through a lot of pain for a massive solar site and not get as much from it. So we're really campaigning for wind hard.
Was that recycling fund to recycle the turbines when they get end of life?
No, sorry, funding. So recycling funding. So the turbines will be given over and they will be owned by the local community, but some of that money from the initial investment will go back into, similar to a community energy fund, basically, where it will be used to fund future planning applications and development.
Thank you.
So have we got time for one more? One more. Should we toss a coin? Are you sure?
This might sound a bit petty, but I'm just wondering, like, what more can clearly be done to communicate what a just transition is to people, because I think sometimes it can be feel a bit ambiguous to people even who are in environmental campaigning groups. But I mean, that could be across social media or other ways, other like networks or you know, in terms of communication, really, because I think sometimes it can be a bit of a vague, you know, phrase, I think.
Yeah, really good point.
Yeah, you can jump in. Yeah, it's jargon. It's definitely just transition is jargon, and it's the jargon of the moment. Everybody loves the just transition words at the moment, but ostensibly it's a, you know, so yeah, we're actually doing a piece of research at the moment. The four of us who worked on it in the first place with Bristol Energy Network, funded by the Supergen Energy Network hubs.
Yeah.
And we are going and chatting to people who don't talk about just transition and don't talk about, you know, energy networks and all of that, and trying to figure out what it means in your daily life. You know, what does it mean to you? What do you want to see? And try and marry those things up and make sure as well something hasn't been left out. You know, because there might even, you know, there's 10 principles there. They're quite wide ranging, but there's still plenty room for improvement and it will mean different things to different people, and that's fine as long as we're all making an effort to do better and be more inclusive with what we're planning.
I suppose if you ask someone a question, they might like say like quite a few different answers that are related to the same.
Exactly.
Like it's a just transition to you, they might say something completely different to the other person. That's not necessarily wrong or right.
No, absolutely. There's no, yeah. I keep saying as well that there's no, like, it's not like just transition bingo. We don't like to be like, yes, we're doing this, bing, we've won. Like, there's no such thing. And it's also not like a naming and shaming exercise. The declaration and signing up to it, it's not that. It's just about like trying to focus your minds a bit on things that maybe haven't been thought about before.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if you want.
Not much to add on that, really. Just I think it is kind of semantics, isn't it, really? And I think it needs to, as ever, be about storytelling. We need to talk to people about the things that matter to them or the things that they're going through, and that's not, as Rachel said, a one size fits all. So we need to really kind of broaden it out, understand the issues. I think we understand quite a lot of them already, but potentially any new issues that we create through that transition. And people's fears, you know, lots of people there is a culture war going on out there with, you know, when it comes to clean energy and decarbonisation. And a lot of people are worried that, you know, the country is going to be in lots of debt, or that, you know, they're going to be out of a job. And, you know, all of these things that we can put to bed quite quickly, but also things to keep in our mind when we're doing that delivery to make sure that we don't disadvantage anyone.
Sorry. Cool. Well, I think that's we'll wrap up there for today. I just like one. Sorry. As you can tell, my brain is just left the building now. I would like to just give one more round of applause to our fantastic speakers, because brilliant talk. I just want to apologise again for some of the sound nuances we're working out. Just to let you know that James's talk was very audible online. So if you did miss anything, we do really urge you to check it out there. And don't worry, apologise for that. So we are going to go to the left-handed giant for a pint or whatever you like after this. If anyone would like to join us, absolutely no pressure. But it'd be nice to see you there. If you could help bring or your cans or anything, just pop them in the kitchen. That would be a really good help for us. And then we'll hopefully see you at the left-handed giant.
Great. All right. Well, thanks everyone. I think Ellen signed us off quite nicely there. We're going to wrap up here in Bristol in the Scott Logic offices. and usher everybody out. It's been so good to chat with you all online. Really hope you enjoyed the event. We've had some really great questions, and I've really loved the chats that we've had. So have a great, what day is it? Thursday. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, it's been a busy week. Have a great Thursday, rest of Thursday, everyone, and a good Friday, and slide into a beautiful weekend. Thank you all so much for being part of our community, and I hope we see you online, or I hope we see you in person sometime soon. All right, everyone, take care. Bye for now. Cool. Thanks, everyone. We're just finding the end button.